One punch, and the fight was over.
Uses a Tua with a big left hook, and Ruiz in trouble. Tua comes right at him, another big bomb, and Ruiz is down. This could almost be over now.
At just 5 feet 10 inches, he carried the kind of power that made giants think twice.
Yeah, but David Tua was crushing people.
He punches early, but the ribcage of Moore, and down goes Moore.
David Tua, in his prime, beat everyone in the world.
And throughout his entire career, not a single opponent ever stopped him. He knocked out future world champions like they were club fighters. And he went to war in one of the greatest heavyweight slugfests ever recorded. This is the story of David Tua, the greatest heavyweight to never win a world title. Welcome back to Boxed In. David Tua was born on November 21st, 1972, in the village of Faleatiu, Samoa, and his childhood was shaped by struggle long before boxing ever entered the picture. His family eventually moved to South Auckland, New Zealand.
I was introduced into boxing at the age of 7 through the love of my father. He absolutely loved the sport of boxing. He forced me into boxing, but there's not a day that passes that I'm not grateful and I'm thankful to my father.
Training began at a small gym in Mangere Bridge under coach Jerry Preston, where Tua showed up 3 days a week and started developing the tools that would later terrify heavyweight champions around the world.
World champion Evander Holyfield says that Tua fights like Iron Mike Tyson. In his latest bout, Tua showed the Tyson tag is no joke.
It reminds me of Mike Tyson. You're very explosive.
By the age of 15, he had already won the New Zealand national heavyweight title in 1988, which made him one of the youngest fighters to ever claim that honor. The amateur run that followed was nothing short of dominant. Tua captured 4 New Zealand national titles, took gold at the 1990 Oceania Championships, and earned a bronze medal at the 1991 World Championship. His record read 75 wins in 84 bouts, with 60 stoppages, and that kind of finishing rate at the amateur level was almost unheard of for a heavyweight. The 1992 Barcelona Olympics became his crowning achievement as an amateur, when he secured a bronze medal in the super heavyweight division, marking New Zealand's first Olympic boxing medal in history.
New Zealand's David Tua has advanced into the semifinals and is guaranteed of at least a bronze medal.
His run ended in the semifinals against David Izanrate, a loss that stung, but one he would later avenge in brutal fashion as a professional. December 1st, 1992, David Tua made his professional debut against Ron Humes, and what followed was a statement that echoed through the entire heavyweight division. 37 seconds into the first round, Humes was on the canvas and the fight was over.
Red trunks, and he goes up against the 33-year-old Ron Humes, who turned pro only last May and has had 9 pro fights. Each of them have resulted in a knockout. He has knocked out 4, and he has been knocked out 5 times.
Well, they call him Rockin' Ron, and that's why he's been KO'd his last 4 times out. And boom, the left hook. David Tua starts this fight off quickly and lands the left hook, and there is what happens when you get hit by Tua.
Tua fought nothing like the tall, rangy heavyweights who dominated the division at the time. His style drew instant comparisons to Mike Tyson.
Well, they think David Tua could be the next Mike Tyson. He has a lot of power. He's very aggressive. He starts off, as Tyson did, extremely fast in these fights, and there's what happens.
Lead with your jab, bob and weave, and as soon as you see the spot, dig a right hand into his belly and come right back with the left hook, which he did, and knocked the guy out.
The bodies started piling up fast. Lorenzo Poole went down in the first round, just 18 days after the Humes fight. And that set the tone for everything that followed. Tua tore through the early opposition with 16 first-round knockouts in his first 20 professional bouts. A streak of violence that left trainers scrambling to find anyone willing to face him. Opponents like Alfredo Navarez, Bruce Johnson, Larry Davis, and Rick Honeycutt all fell within the opening minutes, and each knockout only added to the mystique surrounding the Samoan puncher. His left hook became the weapon everyone feared, a short, compact punch that generated devastating power despite the limited windup. By 1996, Tua had compiled a record of 22 wins and 0 losses with 18 knockouts, and the division finally took notice that something dangerous had arrived. March 15th, 1996, a card dubbed Night of the Young Heavyweights featured some of boxing's most promising prospects, and David Tua faced John Ruiz for the WBC International Heavyweight title. Ruiz had never been stopped in his professional career, which made him a legitimate test for Tua's growing reputation. The opening bell sounds, and Tua explodes forward. A left hook crashes into Ruiz's skull and sends him stumbling backward. And before Ruiz can even process what hit him, Tua unleashes a combination of hooks that snap his head in every direction.
Tua came storming out, it's over! And David Tua, as advertised, the left hook.
Few months later, Tua returns to the ring against Darrell Wilson, a solid contender who had just shocked the boxing world by stopping Shannon Briggs earlier that same year. Wilson represented a step up in competition, a fighter who had proven he could hurt elite prospects. Tua walks him down from the opening bell, cutting off the ring and loading up on body shots that sap Wilson's energy round by round.
Will want to get his jab going.
Make him fight this fight by beating him to the jab. Make a young fighter say, I can afraid of him. And that has some benefits also because
Leans right back in, shoulder to shoulder with David Tua. Midway through round 1.
The pressure becomes unbearable, and Wilson has no answer for the relentless attack.
Wilson tries a right hand across the top. Tua lands a short left. First down.
Tua closes the show with another devastating knockout, proving that the Ruiz destruction was no fluke. The name David Izon carried personal weight for Tua. This was the man who had ended his Olympic dreams in Barcelona 4 years earlier, the last fighter to beat him before he turned professional.
And he's been... Left hook lands. Uppercut landed for Tua. Several. And they fire away and close.
Tua enters the ring with bad intentions and makes quick work of the Nigerian.
Because of his head and shoulder movement. The two things have to wear himself out here.
Avenging the amateur loss in emphatic fashion.
Therefore, he gets caught.
Well, you talk about home run, lost himself the fight.
I don't know.
He's not trying to just tap this man in there.
I think he just about has the dog take ready to go now.
Who lean more toward ring generalship, they might be seeing a better performance by Zarate. A big left hook by Tua. Tua's power shots.
extra credit to David Tua for standing up for 12 hours. Oh, there goes Zarate.
Zarate's hands drop for a moment. He gets the hands back up.
The victory demonstrates that Tua carries grudges into the ring and settles them with his fists.
Clarity with the count. And it's over.
April 5th, 1997.
Now, his opponent today, Oleg Baskayev. He had an outstanding amateur career in the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union. He's from Kazakhstan. Big, strong guy. He'll definitely be a problem for Tua. If he should win, he'll be in the top 10.
And would later become the WBC heavyweight champion, making this fight look even better in hindsight.
He admits against Rocky Marciano, and he does fight somewhat in great Marciano style, and more recently, of course, people think he reminds them in style of Mike Tyson. And again, a lot of it has to do with his size and the fact that he loves to rip those see on his trunks, 100% Samoan. He is very proud of his heritage. He comes from a small island in Western Samoa, despite because of illness. Two-time Soviet champion, simply wasn't mentally or physically prepared for that fight.
Tua stalks him relentlessly, cutting off the ring and unloading combinations whenever Maskiv tries to create distance.
So we're just doing too much posing, not enough puncher. The thought being in against Ike Ibeabuchi, I'm not worried. Lives here in New Jersey, but he's not home in New Zealand.
The Russian has no answers for Tua's pressure and eventually crumbles under the sustained assault.
Very much a catboat here in the United States now. He said, this is the schedule for 12 or in the 11. Ibeabuchi, as we see it, has control of this fight. And David, so far, by David Tua. Overhand right, landed to the chin, not much effective aggressiveness, and Tua has not been effective up to this point. There's a good left hook by Tua. And he's got a line hook. He's got him in trouble here in the 11th. David Tua, and they stopped it.
Tua stops Maskiv late in the fight, adding another future world champion to his list of victims. His record improves to 27-0, and the boxing world waits to see who can possibly stop him. 2 months later, the first real test of David Tua's career arrives in the form of Ike Ibeabuchi, a relatively unknown Nigerian with a 16-0 record, who most experts expected Tua to walk through. What unfolds instead becomes one of the greatest heavyweight fights in boxing history.
Say that they will tape his gloves in the second round.
Ibeabuchi's a better fighter than David Izanridze, stronger, a better boxer.
From the opening bell, both men refuse to take a backward step. Ibeabuchi matches Tua's aggression with his own relentless pressure.
In the first 2 rounds, through 95 punches.
Throwing punches from every angle while walking through everything Tua lands.
Fitting well after 1 a.m. on the East Coast that you got 2 big heavyweights. Now Tua begins to rake Ibeabuchi's body with hard right hands.
Round after round, they stand in the center of the ring and trade bombs.
Good hard right hand to the body by Tua. Assignment for David Tua tonight, trying to wear down a fighter who got the fabulous sportsmanship, great competition. Both fighters giving it the best they've got.
The chins that both men display defy logic, with neither fighter showing any sign of being hurt, despite absorbing punishment that would have flattened ordinary heavyweights.
An explosive left hook by Tua, and Tua again, and again.
When the final bell rings, they have combined to throw 1,730 punches.
And it is indeed an all-time record for punches thrown by 2 heavyweights.
Tua suffers his first professional loss, but his reputation only grows after the war he just survived.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. 117, 111, 115, 114, 116, 113. Unanimous decision in favor of the new WBC International Heavyweight Champion.
After rebuilding with 5 straight wins following the Ibeabuchi loss, Tua faces undefeated IBF contender Hasim Rahman in an eliminator for a world title shot. Rahman enters with serious power and a game plan designed to neutralize Tua's pressure.
Going up against the undefeated
So much is at stake for the 2 young heavyweights. Tua to the body with the left hook, rocked hand to the top of Tua's head by Rahman, and Tua sneaks his left hook.
For 9 rounds, the plan works beautifully.
As he sizes
when a guy's throwing a good jab.
When you can't deal with it.
Rahman boxes masterfully, using his jab to keep Tua at distance while avoiding the dangerous exchanges where Tua thrives.
If Rockman comes through, Ibeabuchi and hit him a lot. He's not able to do that with Rockman because of what's coming back. That right there.
And every time he lands a good punch
So far, but still, Rockman. Yep. So David Tua's found something here. Huh?
be hurting Tua too.
Because more and more it appears the left hook has been blunted. Wait, David Tua.
As the bell sounds to end round 9, Tua fires 2 left hooks that land flush on Rockman's chin. Rockman's legs turn to jelly, and he wobbles back to his corner. The timing is controversial because the punches landed just as the bell rang. But no disqualification is called, and the fight continues. Round 10 begins with Rockman still dazed, and Tua unloads a barrage of unanswered punches.
Tua slashing to the body with right and left. Rockman in trouble.
The referee jumps in at the 35-second mark and waves off the fight.
I believe that is a very bad stoppage.
Rockman's camp screams foul, arguing that the late punch in round 9 should have resulted in recovery time. But the stoppage stands. June 3rd, 2000. Tua returns against Obed Sullivan in a rematch, but something looks different. His weight has ballooned to 253 pounds, the heaviest of his career, and the struggles with conditioning that would plague his later years have begun to surface. Despite the extra weight, Tua's power remains intact. He stops Sullivan again, proving that even an out-of-shape version of David Tua carries knockout danger. The victory sets up the biggest fight of his career, a world title shot against undisputed heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis. The WBC, IBF, and IBO heavyweight titles hang in the balance as David Tua finally gets his shot at the undisputed championship. Lennox Lewis stands across the ring, and the size difference is impossible to ignore. Tua weighs in at 245 pounds, still carrying extra weight that will hamper his mobility throughout the fight.
The distance in 19 seconds. World title.
From the opening bell, Lewis immediately establishes his jab, keeping Tua at the end of his long reach.
Good credit from Tua, just getting close enough to get some combination.
Oh, it's a little blip in the ropes that time, Tua. 12 rounds.
Tua bobs and weaves, trying to close the distance, but Lewis times his exits perfectly whenever Tua gets close.
The first round, totally dominant. There we go, this performance, they respect him. That's
when he feels he's done that a bit, took the sting out of Tua.
No, enough. That could change. He's not having that much.
Round after round, Lewis controls the action with his jab and right hand, while Tua struggles to get inside. The aggression that defined Tua's career seems muted, and his corner grows desperate as the rounds slip away.
He might indeed have lost every round. I did give him a share of the third. Oh, big left hook. Telegraph the left hook, and Lewis makes him pay here.
By the 8th round, they are screaming that a knockout is the only way to win, but Tua cannot find a home for his left hook.
He's going down the drain. Round on every card.
When the final bell rings, David Tua's one and only world title shot ends in a lopsided defeat. He leaves the ring having never been knocked down, having never been stopped, but without the championship that his talent deserved.
Champion of the world from Great Britain, Lennox Lewis.
Landslide decision for Lewis, and I'm surprised.
August 17th, 2002. Former undisputed heavyweight champion Michael Moorer stands across the ring, and this represents the biggest name on Tua's resume aside from Lewis. Moorer won titles at both light heavyweight and heavyweight, defeating Evander Holyfield to become undisputed champion.
Been in one of those, Izod and also Ike Ibeabuchi.
The Ibeabuchi fight was unbelievable.
Yeah, they've both been in those type fights.
On the other hand, this could become a chess match if Moorer is able to box for 36 minutes, or for 30 minutes, I should say. Scheduled for 10, not for 12.
Get off his head.
David Tua gets in 2 body punches early to the ribcage of Moorer, and down goes Moorer.
The bell rings, and Tua immediately pins Moorer against the ropes. A right hand lands flush, and he tumbles halfway through the ropes. The fight ends at the 30-second mark of the first round. Years later, Moorer lists Tua as the hardest puncher he ever faced, and that says everything when you consider Moorer fought and won against some of the greatest boxers ever. After 2 years of inactivity, Tua accepts a fight against fellow New Zealander Shane Cameron in what promoters bill as the fight of the century. Cameron has never been stopped in 23 professional fights and represents the new face of New Zealand heavyweight boxing.
Round 1, scheduled for 12, in black trunks. He's not panicking.
The opening bell sounds, and Tua explodes forward.
Against the power. And now, as the left hand, he's landed the left hook 3 times. He's one of the very best referees in the world. Oh, he caught him! And he got him again! Shane's ready to go! And he's down! McTavish will give him all the time in the world. David catches him. It's going to be a first-round knockout. Down he goes again.
Throwing bombs from every angle. Another knockdown follows, and Cameron barely survives the round.
He can do. Shane backing off immediately. He's trying to jab.
20 seconds into round 2, Shane slumps to the canvas, completely unconscious, and the referee waves off the fight. At 36 years old, he has rolled back the years and delivered the last great performance of his career. The 5 fights that followed the Cameron victory told a different story. No more signature left hooks sending opponents crashing to the canvas. Just grinding decisions and losses that signaled the end of an era. David Tua retired in 2013 and was appointed an officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit. In 2023, he was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Today, David Tua remains the greatest heavyweight to never win a world title. A fighter whose power exceeded his opportunities, and whose legacy endures through highlight reels that continue to terrify new generations of boxing fans.